Greetings and hello, everybody. Just want to say hello to everybody who was ever in this class or watching this presentation. My name is Rob Harris, and I'm in EN 112, Composition and Research. And the topic that I chose for my presentation is pay for play, and should college athletes be paid? I chose this topic because of my background as a former Division I student athlete and a professional basketball player. It's definitely a current and hot topic that has been seen all over the news and sports shows and whatever have you. So I kind of picked it. I even have family members at this stage that are participating in college athletics right now. So I think it's something that is definitely prevalent in today's society, as well as here's a personal note as well. So that's kind of what I did. So again, it's pay for play. Should college athletes be paid? The central claim, argument and thesis is basically paying athletes to play sports is a highly debatable topic, and it will continue to gain popularity as long as they are college sports. The universities and colleges benefit greatly from the current system that is in place at this time. And I think now is the time to examine the rules and the laws that exist, at least at a minimum, to see if there's any way we can benefit the players and help them get paid. So basically the conclusion that I came up with is, during this research, looking at it and the data and doing interviews, personal interviews I had to do to complete the assignments. A lot of people the people I interviewed who were involved in, college sports and pro stuff. And it seems like there's a lot of information out there to support the players to be paid all over college sports. Some of those examples would be like the NIL, which I'll be talking about in the paper, the name, image, and likeness, college academic progress, where colleges are paying their student athletes based on their academic progress, individual state laws. Social media is a big part of how these players get paid. Basically, they, once they find somebody, a third party who does this, the NIL, and then they can get paid for marketing and things of that nature from that third party company. The Supreme Court, a couple of rulings with the antitrust rulings, other various decisions that has paved the way for college athletes to receive compensation. It says here to share at least one significant, memorable quote from one of your sources and cite the quote correctly and place on a reference slide in the presentation. For me, I think during the interview, I was interviewing Charles Guthrie, who is the athletic director at the University of Akron. And one of the questions that I asked him, I said, what do you think of long-term money effects on the student athletes, and how will they be making money in the future? So basically, is it a viable thing? So his response was, if you put a fox in the hen house, you'll have chicken for dinner every night. So I thought that was pretty funny. And what he alluded to was that, once you're at a point that, basically the dam has broken for college players to receive compensation, now the sky's the limit on how much they can make. So depending on whatever their deal is and whatever they sign, these players can make essentially millions on the deal. So, that fox is in the hen house, so it's time to get paid. I think the next question that they asked was like, was your research difficult? Was it easy? Did you change your argument based on a lack of evidence? So I kind of went from the deal from like looking back at it now. I would say the research was a little difficult to a certain degree. The topic is a real-time current event. So essentially, every time you turn on the TV or blogs or ESPN, or, you hear from, the athletic community, or, from student athletes or coaches or whatever have you, there is always a new development happening. So, there was a ton of information on the subject, but the number of sources was somewhat limited. So, there was a lot of things that were coming up on the NIL and pay for play and stuff like that. But there were multiple articles, but they were coming from basically from like the NCAA, or a couple articles from ESPN, some were from Newsweek, or some was from Bloomberg. And there wasn't really a lot of academic, like, coming from that point of view. There was some, but most of it were, like I said, it's real time. So the information that we were getting from the research was actually like pretty much some of it was within the last, 3 to 6 months. Some of it was from the last year or so. So there was a lot of recent timeline to this. So I did think that there was a lot of that, information, but again, it was somewhat limited in the sources. So what kind of surprised me with the research? Well, there was a lot of things that came up, from my years that I played college basketball, which were in the, mid to late 90s. And I think one of the things that really surprised me was just the amount of money being generated in college athletics. And I'll give you an example. For example, you would say the NCAA, based on information that I got from the NCAA.org, the NCAA men's basketball tournament, aka March Madness, made I think it was $1.16 billion for the 2021 fiscal year ending August 31st, making an increase from $519 million in 2020. So that is a big time. Basically, it's probably a little bit around almost double of what they made. And a lot of that money is coming from TV deals, TV deals from CBS, TV deals from, from ESPN, from, all the networks that carry the games live. So that's a really big deal. And basically what happens is once that money comes in and all the bills are taken care of, the money gets refunneled back. The NCAA basically distributes it throughout divisions, Division One, and then there's some money, percentages that go to Division Two and Division Three, and so forth and so on. But you're talking about $1 billion. I mean, essentially, that's a lot of money going around. It says, what did you learn through the process of researching this and writing and presenting? To be very honest and frank with you guys, on May 7th, right before Mother's Day, I actually got into a very bad car crash. Spent Mother's Day weekend, and essentially pretty much until recently, the last 10 days or so, I think I got out of the hospital around the 17th or something like that. But basically, I had a lot of injuries, and I just can't express how blessed and fortunate that I actually am to even be able to present this paper. So I basically learned that I will never ever quit on myself, no matter what, and I'm always thankful for what I have, and because you just never know that it could be taken away in a moment's notice. I really didn't get a chance again to get a lot of feedback from my paperwork, but if anybody has any questions, feel free to email me, or you could hit me up on the Warner email base, R.E. Harris 6 at warnerpacific.edu. So basically, that'll be the end of this. And thank you very much for listening to the outline. And you guys take care. God bless.